You're listening to a Nerds podcast. All things nerds, music, horror movies, pro wrestling, video games, anything nerds would like.
Once again, back with a Nerds podcast. Today, I'm very happy to have an amazing person. I'll make sure I get your name right because hold on one second. Darby Xavier, is that right?
That's Rhea, but yes.
Cool, thank you. Thank you for doing this. This is basically a Nerds podcast. It's consistent, basically, of all things nerd, like, movies, video games, pro wrestling, etc. Everything nerds like. And I like interviewing pro wrestlers because it's really fun. And I'm lucky enough that people are nice enough to interview me, so I'm very grateful. And start off the back. I'm assuming you're a fan since you were a kid, right?
Yes, ever since I was like 9, I think. It was like around the time of 2008. It was pretty fun.
Okay. Okay. When you were a kid, who was the wrestlers that resonated for you and when you could retain the information?
I think it was definitely Triple H. I think he was the first wrestler. I was whoa, his physique was just amazing. Big buff. Shawn Michaels, of course, too.
Okay.
I think those were the two big wrestlers at that time that I really resonated with.
Okay, that's cool. Now, would you say you're an Attitude Era generation? What generation of the WWE generation would you say you are a part of?
Probably the Ruthless Aggression era.
Okay, all right.
But I was born in '97, but I haven't watched till 2008. So.
Okay, that's cool. Now, as a fan, how was it when I'm assuming because you're female wrestler, did you ever notice the switch that when female wrestlers had more a prominent role in wrestling, and if you did you remember when you noticed it?
Honestly, I remember just a little of women wrestling when I was growing up. I think Nikki, James, Melina, Maurice a little bit, but not a lot till I noticed AJ. I relate to AJ a lot. She's around my physique.
Okay.
I'm not really the girliest as a Maurice or Nikki or Brie, so.
Yeah. Okay.
So within Sasha and Becky and Charlotte, those were the women, I was wow, there's an actual, woman wrestlers, not to take away from anything from back then, or even, from the Attitude Era.
Okay, that's cool. Now, I want to ask you, I'm assuming, did you take any sports while you were in school?
I would say track person.
Mm-hmm.
I did tennis for, a couple of years, but, that's basically it. It was pretty intense, and it was pretty hard, even trying to train every day, and yeah. So
okay, that's cool. Now, what was the school that trained you in professional? What was the name of your school that you got a chance to train with?
The Compact Stone Wrestling Dojo back in South Jersey.
Okay, that's cool. Now, when you get on the mat for the first time, how did it feel to take your first bump?
It really hurts. I remember, I think I took a picture of it, when I got home that day, and it's on my Instagram.
Okay.
And, I was wow, I took my first bump, and I feel, complete, crap. And everyone was just yeah, it's going to suck, but it's going to get better, and...
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of regiment, kind of workouts, what kind of workouts did have y'all doing when you were training in your dojo?
A lot of squats, a lot of push-ups, burpees, so much footwork.
Mm-hmm.
It's really even just a couple of days ago, I was on Monday, I was getting back from training, and the next day, my whole legs were sore, my shoulders were sore. I was like, oh my God, that's so, like, I can't move.
I bet. Now, how do they smarten you up when you got into the ring and like they let you know about selling and taking bumps? Like, what did they? How did they approach it to you? Like, what was the language when they told you about selling and all that kind of stuff?
Well, it's just like, some of these stuff is just like, when you watch it, like, you kind of know. Like, basically just tuck your head when you're bumping, things like that. Like, and eventually you just, like, learn from that, and it just becomes second nature.
Okay, that's cool. Now, I'm assuming like, I don't know how many promotions you have get a chance to like basically hone your skill, but like, is like what is the promotion you're doing right now? What was the name of the promotion right now?
Well, right now I'm going to Ohio in a rabbit wrestling federation, and in Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I'll be in the next 2 months, and I'm going to semi-regularly, so that would be fun. I'm looking to do more stuff in the area. I'm trying to be in New York, New Jersey, any other state, and just show what the box office could do.
Okay, that's cool. Now, it says on your profile you write and you do you write the storylines, or like are you a producer or something like that in your promotion? Do you have other jobs besides getting in the square circle?
I am a filmmaker. I went to school for video media arts. I'm currently trying to put together a web series on a teen drama. So right now I'm writing my script and getting everything together there.
You say you're writing a TV show or something?
Yes, a web series. I'm looking to do it on Prime Video.
Okay, that's cool. Now, as a wrestler, like, what do you prefer to be, a babyface or a heel?
Honestly, like, babyface is like, it's nice to be a babyface. A lot of people cheer for you, and you feel nice. But honestly, like, being a heel, being a bad guy is like the most fun thing to do. And just getting a little bit of doing that recently just makes me feel like this is the kind of person I want to be.
Okay, that's cool. And I always kind of feel like the good heels are the ones are usually more honest in the ring, and as opposed. I'm not saying babyface can't be honest. I'm saying they are more comfortable. You can fail better, and you can like play it off better than a babyface could fail.
Definitely, like, the thing with just like a Triple H, like, when you're watching him, like, this is what a heel is, like, especially when back in like 1999, 2000, like, that's who I look to when I'm like, this is what I want to be. Like, this is who the box office should look like.
That's good though. I mean, he's the perfect example because he makes the quintessential heel. I mean, you can even say the young Shawn Michaels when he was in a bad place, but he was also the quintessential heel as well. I mean, they're both like viable. But yeah, like how did it feel when you first like got into the ring for your first time? And it doesn't matter wherever you showcase your talent, but I'm just wondering, like, when you got a chance to do what you wanted to do, how did it feel to be in the ring for the first time to get like wrestle?
It was a good moment. Like, I was in with someone that I really respected, who I trained with, and when we just had that moment, it just made me like so happy. I remember I got in the back. I didn't know that I was going to win that match too. They were like, okay, so you went to like kick out, and then I I tap out to something and I'm like, cool. But then when I won that match, I was just like, holy crap, like, what is this? Did I do something wrong? Like, did I screw up? And like, no, you're just perfect. And I was like, holy crap. And that was a really special moment for me. And I will always like remember that day because my opponent on that match, in that match, he recently passed, and that was like a special moment. So
yeah, I understand.
I watched it the other day, and I was like, wow. I didn't think I was going to watch it again just because how sad it is.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
That's cool. Now, I was wondering, like, you know, what kind of style, if you have a style of wrestling in a mat, what would you call your style if you have one?
Well, like if you watch some of my matches just a little bit, it's like more like high paced, like a little like flippy. If you will, I do my Hurricanrana, but right now I'm looking to slow it down to like still try to slow in my fancy stuff, but also just like put on a hold, like something like a Randy Orton or a Triple H. Like those are the guys I look at. Like this is who I want to like emulate.
Gotcha.
To how I wrestle.
That's cool. That's all right though. I like that.
It's like a heel really slows down the pace instead of like a baby pace. Like turns it up. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, if you don't have to be, you don't gotta say like AEW and like that. But do you keep up with any promotions outside of yours? You can say local, whatever. It doesn't have to be like a big one. I'm just curious if you keep up with any other promotions around your circle, or how is it? You know, do you keep up with anything outside your promotion?
There's a lot of promotions, like especially around the New Jersey area. Even in New Jersey, New York, everywhere, like surrounding that part, like there's a lot of promotions coming in. I'm like, maybe I should come over there, but also I just want to make a name for myself outside of like what's popular and try to be the bigger fish.
Okay. That's cool. Now, someone's gonna think. Do you have a? This is gonna sound silly. Do you have a philosophy? You don't have to. You can say there's no wrong answer. There's all right answers. Do you have a philosophy in wrestling? If you do, what you consider would be? Because it can mean anything. It doesn't necessarily mean whatever. But just curious if you have one.
That's a hard question. Just thinking about it now is like, there's a lot in wrestling. Like, not only just character work, promos, like wrestling. I feel like just have fun with it, and everything else will come along with it. Like, you don't have to take yourself too serious, but also like when you're having fun, opportunities will come from it because you're not like overdoing it, you're not overworking yourself. It's just going to be just like, it's not going to feel like you're working a 9 to 5 job. Like, oh, let me just do this today, and today sucks because I'm working this. Like, when you're working and having fun, it doesn't feel like a job. It's just like something you love doing and you happen to be paid for.
That's cool though. Now, I'm just curious, like, you know, do you plan your matches in the back, or do you do on the fly? If you do you enough trust the person you're in the ring with where you can actually, experiment? If you don't, it's cool either way. It doesn't matter. But I'm just curious if you do. Do you do it either way? Do you meticulously do it in the back, or do you do it on the fly?
I think it depends on the person you're going in with. I personally like to talk things over beforehand just to know what I'm doing. Like, okay, this and that. I know a lot of people prefer to just do in the ring, not to make it more natural,
Mm-hmm.
But especially since I'm like a little bit newer to the scene, it's easier for me just to have things like, okay, this is what I do, this is what you do, let's just mix it together.
Okay. Now, do you like what do you think the I'm just trying to think this way. What do you think the besides Triple H and like I would say because I think I said Shawn Michaels in today's standards, who do you think is a viable heel? You can say someone in your own promotion. If you do, just tell me why you would say that. I'm just curious. Have you seen anyone? Do you see as a viable heel now?
Honestly, there's a lot of good heels, like a lot of, not just like in the WWE, but there's like, if you see someone like a heel, no, Theo Ivy from the Dojo Wars roster, he's such a good heel. He knows how to press everyone buttons, especially mine when I was working with him, He knows how to get under people's skin, and that's kind of a good heel you want.
Yeah.
In the WWE standards, it's also Banks, like, someone like her, like Miz, those are the kind of people also I look at, because I'm more, like, similar to them right now, too.
Okay.
Like, the Miz know how to, like, he's annoying, right? So he's like,
he is.
I went to play up a lot, so you guys will be so annoyed with me and get more booze. But I think it's harder to know who is a good heel right now when you're during a pandemic when you don't have fans.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. Yeah, that's true. Now, as like as a fan, do you ever go back and watch old matches from like the 80s or 70s? I mean, you don't have to. I'm just curious if you did.
I usually watch like Harley Race matches. Like he was one of the guys like I want to watch and just really learn from. I was like so sad when I did not get to meet him, and I was like, no, he's like one of the best though.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
No, nothing.
Oh no, I was make sure I didn't interrupt you. But like as he goes, what stood out for you as a wrestler? Would you look at him and see I can emulate him? I mean, you don't have to. I'm just curious what you see. Could you emulate him if you could?
I think it's the attitude, how they do things, how vicious they are, like even like a Randy Orton, you see how he does things. He like how he did the Jeff Hardy air thing, like that.
Yeah.
So vicious, everyone was like, "Oh my god,
yeah, that's brutal.
This is so sick," and I was like, "Wow." That's the kind of thing like I look at like for wrestlers, like how they do things, how they manipulate body parts. Like Shayna Baszler too. Like she's really like one of the best.
Oh yeah, I like her.
That.
She's good. She's like legitimate, like badass. Now, I want to say I got two more questions to ask you, and I want to thank you just taking your time to do this before like I ask the other question. But like first I want to thank you ahead of time. But it's two more questions, and two questions, they're both fantasy questions, and one of them is basically like a wrestling stable. Let's say you have 4 people, and it's kind of like it's kind of like a Survivor Series kind of scenario almost. And you can pick 4 people, and you can pick from your own promotion. But if you do, you got to tell me why you would pick them. But you can pick whoever you want in your promotion. You're the 5th. You're the ring leader. You're like the Ric Flair, or if we want to call it. Who would you pick in your stable as the 4 contenders to dominate?
Definitely AJ Lee. He was one of my favorite when
Cool.
I was growing up. Probably 1997 or 1998. Shawn Michaels. That was my best
Cool.
That's my favorite version of him. Triple H, like 2000s, I guess, version of him.
Cool.
That's me. That's AJ, Sean. I think I have like 3 left, I think.
You have one. You have AJ Lee. You have Shawn Michaels. You have Triple H. You got one more.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Sasha Banks, like.
All right, that's good.
I think she's one of the best women wrestlers of all time. So.
That's all right. I like that. That's a good team right there. Now, this is going to be our last question. It's basically going to be a WrestleMania thing. This is for the cards, for the chips, everything. This is basically, your WrestleMania match for the championship. Who would you pick to be your opponent, living or dead? Doesn't matter who it is. It could be your stable. Just tell me why you would pick them. But you get one opponent for the championship. Who would you like to fight?
It's just going to sound cliche, but
okay.
Definitely Sasha Banks. Like,
it's not cliche. It's a good thing. There's no wrong answer.
He's definitely one of the people like I look up to right now during my wrestling, during like trying to figure out who I am.
Yeah.
And he's the one that I relate to. The person that I want to have a feud with. This is someone that I want to go to WrestleMania with. Like, it doesn't matter if it's an main event or anything, just to be in the ring with this person would be, like, a dream, I guess.
That's cool. That's right. That's good. I like that. Now, thank you again, and hopefully down the line, like, when you're not busy, like to, just hit you up and just talk to you about wrestling. It don't have to be anything particular. Just hear your opinion on stuff, because you're very valuable, because you're doing the work and everything like that. So I would really like to just make conversation, talk. Just whenever you like it, I'm just gonna hit you up later one day to see if you're just want to talk forever. But I appreciate it again. Thank you again for doing this, and I hope you have an awesome weekend or awesome rest of your day and everything.
Thank you. You too. Have a good day.
See you. That was awesome. That was let me say Deborah Xavier. I pronounced her name horribly wrong, and I apologize. But she was really awesome, and it's a really fun interview. And hopefully down the line we'll get to meet up again. But for today, I'm going to play instrumental music.